whispering in the trees. It's two cities and they're only
probably right now, because I hear the music in the background.
There's a man who leads a life of danger.
Enters Max Ciampoli. Hey, Max, how are you, buddy?
I'm fine. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
My wife is on the phone too.
Oh, very
Hey,
good.
Stephen, how are you?
Hi. Oh, you guys can call me Stephen, but most people know me as the Preacher. T-H-E, the Preacher.
The Preacher.
I've been really
okay,
enjoying the intrigue surrounding your life as a personal friend, it seems, of Winston Churchill, and I'm talking the Winston Churchill, not some made-up guy.
Right.
Yep.
Max, how did that all get started? You were a very young man when you were hired on. How did you get going into that secret world of Savatugi and what have you?
What it was, we were defeated, and I was in the ski troop, and my troop had to surrender. And the general said to me, "Tell your guy to go anywhere they want, but don't stay here in Grenoble because they're going to be taken prisoner."
Right. You were France was being overrun at that time. What year was that? 41, maybe?
I was 17.
He was 17, but it was in 1940.
1940. Okay,
Right.
So the Nazis had invaded
How do you hook
France.
up with
Churchill? How does that happen?
That's what I was saying. I decided to flee to Africa or anywhere, and I said, since I'm strange to my father, I'm going to look the tutor of mine who live in the south of France.
Well, it's actually his godfather. He was going to visit his godfather in the south of France, Cap d'Antibes, because he was estranged from his parents.
Where did the training take place?
In England and Scotland.
Scotland Yard?
Scotland, the country.
Yeah, in Scotland. Okay.
Well, he did his parachuting training in Scotland. Well, he had known Churchill as a kid growing up when he was 5 and 6, because his godfather lived in Cap d'Antibes, and Churchill came down to visit and had a home, not his home, but he used a home down in Cap d'Antibes. So when Max was a little boy, he met Winston Churchill, and then when his godfather called him to reintroduce Max to him and told him that he spoke fluent German and fluent French, and he was a lieutenant at the age of 17, and asked if he had any use for him in England, Churchill said send him over.
Yeah, very early in the book you talk about your parachuting experiences, and right away I felt as though they're going to drop this guy somewhere, and then they in fact did. You parachuted behind enemy lines, isn't that correct?
Every time, yeah.
And how was that? Was that a blast back in those days?
Oh, it was misery. Those parachutes, they drag you for kilometers, and you couldn't control them.
The relationship you had with Winston, did you share, and how much really top secret, for top secret eyes only information were you privy to?
Oh, he was free with me. He was telling me everything what went on, but he couldn't tell me everything because if I get caught, a prisoner, and I will be
Tortured.
Yeah, torture, and I might talk. But he took care of that. He put a cyanide pill in one of my tooth with a cap on it, and in case I need it, I could chew on it and
die. Thank God he didn't.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, we would have a hard time with this interview. You openly admit, Max, in the book that not only did you feel that you saved lives, that you also did some damage. You took some lives.
Oh, sure, you have to. I mean, when you're in front of the wall, you have to bite the bullets.
And you were in cases where you in situations where it was hand to hand, man to man, eyeball to eyeball, hand to hand combat?
No, not exactly. No, it was not like James Bond. No, it was more in the dark corners.
Right.
And also information, a lot of information gathering. And but there was one, I don't know if you've read this part in the book yet, but when he had to get rid of a doctor, a supposed doctor who they found out was a spy for the other side, and he got rid of him. And then another time he had to shoot somebody because he found out he was going to turn in about 300 Jews, including this guy's son. And
I know that
he
you
got
made
rid
your
of
way
him
to Africa. It was it? Am I correct? Patton was in Africa. General Patton, American general. Did you deal with him at all?
I've been landed in Morocco with him.
Right. And Max was they raised him a grade. Instead of being a lieutenant, they thought he'd be more impressive as a captain, so they got him a captain's uniform. So he was a French captain, and they put him next to Patton in order for the French would see that the French were on the side of the Americans and to create a means of avoiding more bloodshed. It helped. Patton didn't get killed. Max didn't get killed, so I think it helped.
I'm a big fan of Winston Churchill, and mostly his quotes. He was just a really clever guy. And last night, me and my Scottish friend, my friend Charlie, who is a great friend of mine, and he's in his 80s, we were talking about Winston Churchill and this interview coming up today, and Charlie also served in Europe, and as an American. We were talking about Churchill's quotes, and I was trying to think of my favorite one, and I just couldn't remember it, but I kept saying it's a really famous, and Charlie knew it, and here it is. Churchill is somewhere at a cocktail party, and some woman says, "If I was married to you, Winston, I'd poison you." And Winston says, "If I was married to you, I'd drink it."
Exactly. I remember that one. That was great.
That is actually my favorite quote. So
I love that.